What is going on, guys? This is Astrum Sensei, and today I'm gonna be showing you how to create a badass main menu for your video game in Unreal Engine 4. This is what the final result will look like. Isn't it gorgeous? For me and many other people, the main menu is one of the most memorable things about a video game, and you know, it is one of the first few things people will see when they boot up your game after all. So it's very essential to have a good looking main menu, even if you end up with a simplistic design with just the logo and you know, a black background and some music. So yeah, I'll show you two ways to do it. You can either do it with a 3D, you know, level background, or you can just use a 2D wallpaper as a background. So yeah, let's start. I'm actually gonna show you the 3D background first. So I started by making a new project just for this tutorial because I'm just doing this to show you guys what to do. So yeah, after you open your project, you just want to create a new level, call it main menu, and you also want to create a widget by right clicking and going to user interface and create a widget blueprint. I'm gonna call it main menu widget. So what you're gonna do next is you're gonna open your widget blueprint, and after you've opened it, you wanna add a vertical box. I'm quickly gonna search for it instead of just looking around, and yeah, just drag it and drop it. Then you wanna adjust the anchor to the middle and change the size depending on how big you want your logo and your buttons to be. You know, this part usually takes a lot of experimenting, so I really experimented while doing this a lot, and finally I came up with the size I wanted to use, which was 700 by 900, and I also changed the position X and the position Y to be 350 by 450. You know, it all really depends on your own assets and the way they look. So after that, I actually prepared my logo, which is the Astrum Sensei logo. I put it in Photoshop and I cropped everything around it so that only the logo is in the picture, because yeah, it's much better to do that when doing a logo for your main menu in the game. Usually I really like to do a concept in Photoshop where I try out my logo and the text under it, and then I make something based on that, because it really helps, you know, put the idea together. But yeah, when you're exporting your logo, you really want there to be not a lot of space around it. I saved it as a Photoshop document and I imported it into Unreal Engine 4 just by dragging. And then I opened my widget blueprint and I just dragged it into the vertical box. And I just quickly renamed it to game logo so that I don't get a mess in the names. So what you want to do next is you want to adjust the image size. Now it was great in the X axis, but in the Y I had to make it much bigger for some reason. And yeah, that was about it for the logo. After that, you want to add 3 buttons, which are for the new game, start game, and for the options, and for the quit game. You can add as many buttons as you like with a lot of options, but yeah, for the sake of simplicity for this tutorial, I only added 3. Also, make sure that you horizontally align them in the center. After that, you want to add a text for each of the buttons, and for the text you just click on it and change the text to whatever you want. I changed it to start game, and I chose a color from my logo so that it fits properly with the text. And then I quickly changed the text for the other 2. The second one is options. I wrote it and chose the same color for it. And the third one was quit game. I also wrote that and chose the same color for that. In the buttons options, I changed the alpha for the button opacity to be 0, like no opacity, because that's the way I like to make main menus. I don't like having buttons behind the words, especially if there's no cool design to put behind them. And honestly, I didn't design anything for this, so I just canceled the buttons. You can just import your own image into it and add it as a button. That would be really cool, but since we have nothing right now, I just changed the opacity to 0. Later, I actually quickly readjusted the size for the vertical box because there was so much empty space below, so I just made it a little bit smaller. If your text is too close to the logo, you can add something called a spacer, and that would give you as much space as you need between your logo and your buttons. So I added a spacer and made it a little bit bigger. It's a really good tool. You can even add it between buttons, you can add it between anything basically, and it's really useful. So now that we've set up a basic layout for our main menu, we're just gonna leave it aside and work on a little bit of blueprints. So in the details panel of your first button, what you want to do is you want to go down to the bottom of it and click on the green plus beside event on clicked. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna tell the engine what to do when your player clicks at the button that you've specified. So this part is pretty simple. Just drag out from unclicked and type in open level. This is the node you want to use, and then inside of there you want to write the accurate literal name of your level. In my case, I'm actually gonna use the example level from third person example project. So next you want to rename your vertical box to main menu and make sure that you click is variable next to it. Make sure that that one is enabled. I would actually really recommend renaming all of your buttons because we don't want to get confused. And honestly, the next part actually really requires named buttons because it's gonna get a bit confusing. We're gonna go more into blueprints. So yeah, after we've renamed our buttons, we're actually gonna make the quit game button work. So the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna go through similar to what we did for the start game. So yeah, when you press on clicked, you see this blueprint again. You want to drag out and set visibility. Now what this does is it tells you, it makes something whatever you want, either visible or invisible. So the way we're gonna make it is we're gonna get a, after you press your quit game, you're gonna get a prompt whether you want, whether you're sure if you really want to quit your game or if you don't, if you just accidentally pressed it. And by learning this method, you can actually use it to make, you know, options and many other menus, and that way you will be able to set it to invisible when you click your quit game button. So what you want to do next is you want to add a new vertical box and adjust the size and anchor to your liking. And next you want to add some text on it, and I personally wrote, would you like to quit your game, or are you sure you want to quit your game? And after that you want to add two buttons with text in them. Basically I added one that says yes and one that says no. When you press the yes button, it quits you, and when you press no, it goes back to the main menu. So I quickly copied the same colors from the buttons in the original main menu and added them to this submenu. I also changed the font size and the everything to my liking and just adjusted them. There is something you can use instead of the text, which is images in the buttons, and that way you can add your own text from Photoshop or any other photo editing software. I would really recommend that if you're working on your final game, because you can add other images for, you know, when it's hovered over your button or when it's clicked. So next you want to press the on clicked for the yes button, and you want to drag out from the node to make a quit game node. This node will just quit your game when it's enabled. Do the same again for the no button, but instead of the quit game node, we're actually gonna set the visibility of it. So we're gonna do something similar to what we did for the main menu. So basically when the quit game button is pressed, the main menu is set to invisible and the quit prompt menu is set to visible. That's the first line of code for the unclicked quit game button node. Make sure that your quit game vertical box is also a variable. So you want to copy both for the other one, and you want to flip the roles. So the first set visibility makes the main menu visible, and the other one makes the quit game prompt hidden. That way, when you no longer want to quit your game, you press no and it goes back to the main menu. Very simple and easy. So I'm actually not gonna do the options menu for this video. I'm gonna make a separate video for it with a lot of functionality instead of just making a bland options menu. So yeah, I'm probably gonna make several videos for the main menu, so make sure you subscribe if you're looking forward to them. But yeah, for now, this is what the final code for the widget looks like. One more thing, you want to select each vertical box and choose if it's hidden or visible depending on how you want it to be, like in the beginning. So for me, the main menu vertical box will be visible and the other one will be hidden. Now we're actually going to go to the level blueprint and edit some stuff. So the first thing you want to do is you want to drag out from the event begin play and make a create widget node, and for your widget you want to choose the main menu widget, which is the one we've been working on through the whole video. The owning player will be the character controller, and next you want to add it to the viewport and connect the target to the returning self. After that, you want to set the input mode to be UI only, that way the player can't walk around, and the player controller will be the same player controller that we've added earlier. Then you want to make sure to drag out from the player controller and type in show mouse cursor, set show mouse cursor. That way you disable the mouse cursor, enable the mouse cursor so that the player can use it in the main menu. So you want to compile and save, and that is it for the level blueprint. So next we're actually going to test our game and see if it works. And when you press start game, it actually works, but you cannot walk around, and that is because we've disabled input for the player. So we're gonna get to fix that, but first we're also gonna try the quit game button. So open that and try the quit game button, and as you can see, the other prompt is already not in place. It's kind of flying off to the left, but it's working. So that small mistake for the quit prompt, we just forgot to anchor it to the middle, so I quickly fixed that, and I added dark blue backgrounds for each of the buttons because I thought they are kind of lacking. Now when you're making a game, it's gonna look much better if you work hard on them. So yeah, since this is a quick example, I just used the backgrounds for the buttons. So now that everything looks great, we're just gonna edit the other level blueprint so that we can play as the main character whenever we start a new game. So after event begin play, you want to drag out and get a node called set input mode game only. This one tells the game to only get the input from the gameplay and not the user interface. And you add the player controller, you just get the player controller, and from the player controller you drag out and set show mouse cursor, which you disable. That way we can no longer see the mouse, and that's it. You just compile and save, and then go back to your main menu level and test the game and see that it works. You can now walk around after you boot up your game from the main menu. You can also go to the project settings to the maps section and change your default map to main menu and your startup map to main menu. That way whenever you open your project, you will see the main menu map. And honestly, this is it. Now we have a fully functional main menu that we can use for our game. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna make a quick design for it. I already have a map that I want to use for it, so I quickly imported it to my project. It is from my action RPG project series. It's the dungeon that I made for that. I'm gonna use it as a background for my main menu. It has particles and a nice atmosphere. So yeah, it's a moving background. You know, I really took my time choosing an angle for what I want to be my main menu angle. I really would recommend the same because you know, you can come out with some really cool stuff. I was being in a hurry generally, so yeah, I could have done better, but this is what I chose. And after that, you want to import your cinematic camera actor and place it in the right angle. So I placed it carefully, and actually no, I just put it and it turned out in a nice place, so I just decided to keep it for this video. And then change your game mode to game mode base in the world settings. Then you want to go to your level blueprint, and actually you want to paste all of these things we did in the previous main menu map. But before that, I actually added the camera to the to be like what the player sees when they open the map. From the event begin play, you want to drag out and set view target and turn off context sensitive. Set view target with blend, and you want to go out to your map and drag in your camera actor to the level blueprint and hook it up as the new view target. And then you want to get player controller and hook it up to target. Now if you save and compile, you'll actually see through the camera, so try it out before you do anything else and make sure that it works. As you can see, looking perfect. So next you want to go back to your first map, and we're gonna copy the all of the code from the level blueprint and paste it on our new level, because we want to do the exact same thing to open the same menu widget. So just copy it and go back to the other map and paste it after the set view target with blend. Of course, connect them. And I decided to delete one of the get player controller and use the same one for both. I really recommend doing that. It's much cleaner. And when you hit play, you will see that it looks amazing. The main menu we've created now looks perfect. It's an actual main menu for a game called Astrum Sensei with a dungeon in the background and some skeletons. This is what my dungeon looks like. And the quit button works too, the start game works, everything's perfect. You want to save, and basically this is it for what the 3D background I talked about is. And now that we've done the 3D background, I'm actually going to show you how to quickly change that into a 2D background. So next, to turn it to a 2D background, you want to basically just import any big image you want. You just make sure that it's HD, because no one wants a non-HD background for a main menu of a game they're playing. And you just put it in the background and just make it bigger, and it will be a main menu background. Just if you're doing this method, make sure that there's nothing in the level, because it will be much faster to do this, like for the load times. As you can see, we have a black and blue background, looks perfect with my logo. Maybe I should make a game called Astrum Sensei, that would be a great idea. You know, it's a game where you walk around and teach people how to make games. So if you want to add sounds to your menu, you can add a music cue to the level, or from the main menu widget, you can add on each button what you want it to sound. On the buttons details settings, there is for on-clicked and on-hovered. Just check it out and you will find a lot of options. And now you know 2 ways to make a badass main menu for your own game. Throw in some nice designs and a good soundtrack, and you're off to a good start for your game. I know this was a very simple tutorial and that there are a few others like this, but I wanted to make something cohesive and to the point at the same time. So I really hope it was useful for you guys and that you've enjoyed it. If you have, please make sure to hit the like button and subscribe if you'd like to see more Unreal Engine tutorials and game development videos in general. you know, very soon I'm actually going to be showing you guys how I'm making my own video game in a series of, you know, development videos. So I really hope you guys are looking forward to that. Also, I want to thank my Patreons for all the love and support that they're giving me. If you guys would like to download the project files for this tutorial or any other tutorial I do, like the action RPG series, make sure that you check out my Patreon page because you can actually download it from there. So yeah guys, see you on the next video and take care.